Ayon. Hello, what's up, mga papi? Welcome to the Fantasy Basketball PH podcast. And of course, this is your NBA Fantasy Papi in the house. Happy weekend, mga paps. At ayan, by the way, bago natin umpisahan yung ating episode for today, remind ko lang, no, we are actually available at Spotify, Facebook, YouTube, X or Twitter. And then every Monday, meron din tayong episode sa Radyo Pilipinas Dos Sports, 918 AM. And starting tomorrow, mahigpit ang close fight na laban ng Minnesota Timberwolves at Denver Nuggets. Balik ulit tayo doon sa ating live sports casting. Join lang kayo doon sa ating playback channels, NBA League Pass. So, ang kailangan nyo lang gawin, syempre, check nyo yung playback. So, it's either punta kayo doon sa playback.com or download nyo yung app na playback. Hanapin nyo yung Fantasy Basketball PH. Pagkatapos, join kayo dun sa group. Kailangan mag-join kayo para mabigyan ko kayo ng VIP access. It's as if meron kayong league pass. So sama-sama tayong manonood, watch party para makapture natin yung moments na para tayong magkakasama. Magtotropang nanonood ng Game 1 ng Round 2, Denver Nuggets versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. Ayan. By the way, mga paps, shoutout pala sa Daily Fantasy. Bagong app to, obviously, tungkol sa Daily Fantasy. So, meron silang pakulo this coming May 11. That's Saturday next week. So, bibisita tayo dyan. Uusisain natin kung ano nga ba tong Daily Fantasy. So, dun sa mga curious at gusto ding isa sa mga unang makaalam kung ano ba yung ma-offer sa atin ng daily fantasy, punta kayo dyan. So, saan nga ba to? Saan nga ba yung venue? So, ang venue natin ay sa Mansion Sports Bar and Lounge. So, sa Makati yan. So, punta lang kayo doon ng, I think, 6 p.m. onwards. So, meron silang, kapag nag-register kayo, meron kayong free 1,500 credit na pwede nyo gamitin sa foods and drinks. So, baka mamaya mapasubo ako, no? Na expect kayo na kung ano. Kasi narinig ko dito sa episode natin. Ang gawin nyo na lang, check nyo dun sa post ng Daily Fantasy. Search nyo lang yan. Tapos hanapin nyo to. To Fantasy Showdown. So, meron silang parang quiz night for this event. And then, nakita ko, pwede kayong bumuo ng group of 4. And then, meron nga quiz night. Tapos, you can actually win a total prize up to 20,000 pesos yung ipapamigay nila. So, hindi ko sure kung buong 20,000 ba yan or accumulated. Pero isa lang yung sure ko. Pupunta tayo dyan para suportahan at syempre usisain what does daily fantasy bring to our fantasy basketball community dito sa Pilipinas. So shout out sa Daily Fantasy. At syempre, yung series natin kasi hindi natin napasan no round 1. Magagawa tayo ng mga preview episodes. So, pinag-iisipan ko pa kung kaya kong gumawa nung after game na reaction episode natin. Pero at least for preview episodes per round, this NBA 2023-2024 playoffs, yan yung ating gagawing timely naaabangan every week. And this series of episodes is brought to you by Superbex Food Drip. So kung taga Laguna ka, for sure alam mo na to. Check nyo yung Superbex Food Trip, formerly known as Starbex. Available dito syempre yung hinahanap ng lahat. Spicy liempo, meron din silang bangus, sisig, tapa at tocino. Maraming branches yan. Merong original branch yan dito sa may amin syempre Golden City, Santa Rosa. Tapos meron yung branch sa Balibago, sa Santa Rosa mismo sa bayan, sa sorry, sa Kalamba, sa Pasita, at marami pang iba. Sa meron din to sa may Pulo Pulo yung papuntang Mamatid. So tanong nyo lang, search nyo lang din sa Facebook, hindi kayo maliligaw. Superbex Food Trip, formerly known as Starbex. Hanapin nyo yung spicy liempo nila at sabihin nyo, BP, sabi ni Papi Roy. para makakuha kayo no mas malaki pa sa palad na liempo. Sobrang sarap diyan mga paps. Shout out sa Superbex Food Trip. Let's go. At ito na nga, ang pag-uusapan natin for today is preview for Game 1 ng Round 2 in the Western Conference, the defending champs Denver Nuggets against a very, very hot Minnesota Timberwolves. Nakakagagaling lang sa isang sweep against actually season favorite the Phoenix Suns. Winalis nila mga papi. At syempre, ang Denver Nuggets naman sinubukang walisin pero 4-1 lang against the world's favorite feeling ko hindi lang sa Pilipinas, the Los Angeles Lakers. So, pag-usapan natin yan mga papi, pag-usapan natin kung ano nga ba yung mga dapat nating i-consider, lalo na dun sa mga sports fan, NBA fan, and even dun sa fan ng mga ads para kung may plano ka mag-analyze, maging guide mo yung mga pag-uusapan natin for today. Syempre, hindi ko naman digest to in granular. So, let's just talk about three aspects at least for this episode. So, I think first agenda natin is to talk about what worked in round 1 para sa dalawang teams na to. Of course, yung expected key moves nila for round 2 against each other and yung final verdict natin. Itong dalawang to, nagkaharap sila ng 4 na beses during regular season. Ang problema ko lang, kaya hindi ko masyado binigyan ng malaking inclination na chance, hindi pala chance, ng malaking inclination to digest yung mga nangyari ng regular season. Of course, kasi uh, regular season yun eh. Iba pa rin talaga yung preparation for playoffs and regular season. Magkakaroon tayo ng mga glimpse or yung mga indicators na ma-observe natin during the regular season. Pero it doesn't mean yun na talaga yung mangyayari. Feeling ko hindi yun yung malaking leans para sabihin natin, mananalo ang Denver or kayang i-execute ng Denver to. Maho-hold back sila ng Wolves. May mga indicators, may mga signs, part of the analysis as well. Pero not so big, not too big for me. Feeling ko a combination of a lot of things yung kailangan nating usisain. One thing to prove that theory is yung Suns. Kasi Suns actually figured out itong Minnesota Timberwolves during the regular season. Pero kita nyo naman yung nangyari. Walang wala silang naipakita nung playoffs na sweep sila. Yung magandang defense nila sa Timberwolves hindi nag-work. And again, going back to our first agenda, let's talk about kung ano-ano yung mga nangyayari nung round 1. So, umpisa natin dun sa Minnesota Timberwolves. So, yun na nga, na-sweep ng Wolves ang Suns during their first round. Favorable dapat, supposed to be sa Suns dahil magandang pinakita nila dun sa regular season. And then, syempre, yung Timberwolves, in a sense, they are experienced pero upcoming team pa lang eh. Medyo bago pa sila recently dito sa playoffs. In a sense na in terms of Cat, being Cat, yung dynamics nila with Rudy Gobert and then of course yung pag-angat ni Anthony Edwards. Lahat ng ito nangyayari started na siguro masasabi ko last season eh. Even though yung Minnesota Timberwolves prior to that kumakatok na lagi sa playoffs pero not within this core of players. May mga hindi nakapaglaro ng mga nakaraan pero this season yung nakompleto talaga sila. So I can actually say na hindi ko masasabi na yung subok na or tested or handang-handa ang Minnesota Timberwolves. Pero yun nga, they showed during regular season na they are ready and there's very strong team. That's the reason why nakapasok sila sa playoffs. That's the reason why they actually ended up almost second eh. Halos tabla sila ng Denver Nuggets dun sa standing. And then they went up against a Phoenix Suns team na first time na mabuo yung big three nila. They haven't played a lot during the regular season. Nagumpisa din yung taon na to na medyo favorite sila in terms of odds to win the chip kasi meron kang Kevin Durant, meron kang Devin Booker, tapos kinuha pa nila si Bradley Beal. So ang expectation from the words of their star players, paano mo nga ba sila pipigilan? Tatlong offensive players yan. Ang sagot, yun, yung ginawa ng Timberwolves. So yun yung naging catch mga pop. So, kumaga, all of the hype, a lot of things happen pag andyan na, pag actual na, kapag andyan na yung realidad. Hindi talaga basta-basta nangyayari yung nasa papel or ano yung nasa hype na preview. May konting marketing doon. Of course, team nila yun. Syempre, kailangan na lang iangat yun. So doon natin ang titingnan natin as fans and at someone try to analyze the game. Ano nga ba yung pinaka main summary ng Timberwolves against the Phoenix Suns? So for me, ang yung defense kasi granted na yan eh. Alam mo na number one defense ng Timberwolves. Alam din natin na on the other hand, ang Phoenix Suns naman is highly offensive. Ang in terms of yung roster, mm, obviously, mas malalim ang Timberwolves. I think, posibleng sila na ata yung pinakamalalim na roster in all of the NBA playoffs team this season against a Phoenix Suns na underman, lalong-lalo na sa bench. No? Halos wala silang makuha tulong off the bench aside from, I guess, Royce O'Neal. And supposedly, kung ako ang tatanungin, dapat siguro Drew Eubanks kaso hindi siya masyado nabigyan ng playing time. Even Anthony Edwards acknowledged that eh. Kung nakita niyo yung video, sabi ni Ant kay, kay Kat na parang, uy, hindi ba naglaro si Eubanks? Tapos sabi ni Kat, hindi na natin problema yan. Kasi feeling ko na-acknowledge nila yun eh. O nga pala, mamaya gagamitin ko yung part na to doon sa isa sa mga arguments ko later. Kasi makikita nyo na talagang ang mga NBA teams and yung mga NBA players, naghahanda sila. Playoffs is a different beast. Kaya iba yung preparation nila doon. And then, of course, regular season, andun yung adjustment, andun yung kung paano bubuuin at e-execute yung pinaghandaan mo for the playoffs. Kasi, let's be honest, no? May mga teams talaga tayong ine-expect talaga sa playoffs. And sila mismo, doon sa NBA, alam din nila yon. Meron at merong mangyayari na, uy, hindi natin na-expect to na makakapasok. Pero hindi naman as in 50% yun nung assumption natin. I think it's just around 25% or even lesser. Pero majority, almost, kaya mong i-predict na ito na yung mga malaki yung chance na makapasok. And Timberwolves, knowing that they are one of the strongest team in the West, in-expect din na talaga nila yan. And feeling ko na paghandaan nila itong Phoenix Suns. Ang Phoenix Suns naman, as much as they wanted to prepare, I felt na, not to take away credits dun sa Timberwolves, I felt na kulang talaga yung cohesiveness nila. Kasi bago lang nabuo yung team nila eh. Tapos kakaiba yung structure nung kanilang roster. Wala silang point guard, limited yung big man nila, totally reliable only on Yusuf Nurkic to the point na nga na nagiging uma-act as center itong si Kevin Durant eh. At the end of the day, ang bottom line is hindi sila nakapag-execute ng maayos. The Minnesota Timberwolves is too much to make the stars of Phoenix Suns uncomfortable and unable to execute yung kanilang half-court scoring setup. Kasi yun yung strengths ng Phoenix Suns eh. Kapag nakukuha ng mga stars nila yung gusto nilang mga tira, kapag na-execute nila yung opensa nila, mahirap talaga silang pigilan kasi sino ba ang hirap bantayan no ng tatlong stars nila na yun. At alam ng Timberwolves yun. That's the reason why they did some adjustment. Kasi natutunan nila yun during regular season wherein yung recent game nga nila ay natalo sila ng Phoenix Suns. And what Phoenix Suns did during no regular season na yun is to actually push Anthony Edwards in situations to really, decide, read and make plays na hindi pa siya well known to do that to the point na I think he was held below 20 points dun sa game na yun. I was expecting that to happen. Ang in-expect ko nga, Game 7, yung Wolves sa Suns. And dahil aabot sa Game 7, ang tansya ko nun, ay baka manalo ang Suns dito. Just because meron silang vet na sukat nga katulad ni Kevin Durant. So akala ko mananalo ang Suns doon in 7. Na dikit by a hairline. Pero nare-recognize ko na rin talaga yung galing ng Timberwolves. I just didn't expect Edwards to actually really step up. Kyle Anthony Towns was big. Possibly this is his best playoff series in his career. Nakita na natin yung maturity, yung signs of maturity ni Anthony Edwards. And then na-control niya kahit papaano yung fouls niya. Ni-reiterate to ni Anthony ni Kyle Anthony Towns pala. Na-control ni Kyle Anthony Towns yung fouls niya at ni-reiterate to ni Anthony Edwards nung ano nila nung interview nila, 'di ba? So just because of those high level factors para sa akin yun yung dahilan kaya na GG itong Phoenix Suns. Aside from of course, yun nga si Bradley Beal wasn't able to step up to the plate. Na-injury pa si Grayson Allen. They don't have a lot of athletic bench or even yung complementary players na masabayan itong Wolves na a little bit younger than them, a little bit more athletic kasi malaking bagay yon physically. Playing very hard 40 plus minutes every game dun sa series na yon, all of the adjustment, lahat na ngayon, ang dami mong kailangan i-consider and then Wolves being a better team in the defense. Surprisingly in the offense, kasi ang Wolves known siya to be good in defense pero struggles to start and close games. Ang Timberwolves, if you check their performances in the whole season, of course, nananalo sila kasi natatambakan agad nila in between either yung pag uminit na pag nag-work na yung depensa nila tapos yun na nga nakakuha na ni Ant or ni Kat yung momentum, talagang natatambakan din nila yung mga teams most of the time this season. Pero if you check, medyo struggle sila to start strong and struggle sila usually to finish strong, but hindi ganun yung nangyayari sa Phoenix Suns. They're a little bit more comfortable, they execute pretty well. A lot of their complementary guys like Jaden McDaniels nakatulong talaga, Naz Reid nakatulong, NAW napahirapan si Devin Booker. So all of those work and that's the reason why nakapasok itong Timberwolves. And sobrang ano talaga maganda yung performance nila. All throughout that series and then even after the series ang pinag-uusapan Anthony Edwards na parang this is his time and all, not to throw shades kay SGA na feeling ko bigla talaga nagiging sobrang undervalued at underrated ni SGA na well in fact siya yung MVP, nasa MVP race, siya yung bumuhat talaga from development up to ngayon dun sa OKC. Feeling ko mas ano kasi iba yung swag ni Anthony Edwards. People love him for that. Yung playfulness niya, yung mga marketing I guess din nakakatulong na Jordan-esque yung mga galawan niya and performances niya. And that's for me one of the big reason kaya din nanalo ang Timberwolves is because of Anthony Edwards not actually shying doon sa stage when it counts sa spotlight. And for me, malaking bagay din talaga si Kat dahil again, it was his best performance in his career in terms of yung playoff series niya na experience. So ayun, yun yung quick lang na summary ko for round 1. For round 2 naman, ang kalaban ng round 2, sorry. For Denver Nuggets naman, yung round 1 na kalaban nila ay again the Los Angeles Lakers na nakalaban nila last year. Na-sweep nila yung Lakers. Pero ako, naniwala talaga ako na it was a better Lakers team to some extent. It was a better season for LeBron James and Anthony Davis, which is very evident then. That's the reason why initially I was expecting it's gonna go 4-2. Pero mananalo pa rin ng Denver Nuggets. Maaaring may mga mainis or ma-touch akong sensitive part dun sa mga Lakers fans dyan. Pero ako kasi I firmly believe na this Denver is expected to really win this series. Either ways. Though it wasn't as easy as expected. Hindi katulad last year. Pero alam na basta na ng Denver yung galawan ng Lakers. It was closer than expected. Siguro yun nga dahil may improvement naman to some extent ang Lakers. Kaya talagang dikit din yung several games na naipanalo ng Nuggets even though 4-1. Pero yung game to nun dikit and then another game yung last time, Jamal Murray na naman yung gumawa. Thing is, dito sa series na to, actually it's a bad series for the Denver Nuggets. I can't say na Jokic was struggling. Feeling ko he was just slowed down to some extent dahil maganda kasi yung stats niya. Grabe pa rin yung pinakita niya. Pero for me, it's not his best performance for a series, even for a game lang. Wag na nating i-count na playoff game to. That goes as well with Jamal Murray. He had a bad shooting series as well. Hindi pa masyado sobrang uminit si Aaron Gordon. KCP was banged up. So I can say this was 100% healthy and well-oiled Denver Nuggets against the Lakers. Not to take away credit from the Los Angeles Lakers kasi I firmly believe that Anthony Davis is the best defensive player. Actually, both ends the best player na makakatapat or nakatapat na ni Jokic in the whole playoff series. Might it be kung makapasok man ng Denver sa finals, makalaban nila kung sino mananalo sa East. Kung lang kung not saying na sila talaga yung mananalo. I just think ito na yun Ito na yung pinaka main challenge ni um, Jokic in terms of skill. Siyempre, yung ibang mga players, mamaya pag-usapan natin, like for example, Rudy Gobert, offer something different against Nikola Jokic. Pero player versus player wise, skill wise, feeling ko Anthony Davis na yung best na nakatapat niya. And it was evident na na-challenge talaga si Jokic. He was slowed down. Ang ginagawa ng Lakers talaga, nag-start sila to double team Jokic, and then ginaya nila yung parang style ni ni Phoenix Suns no regular seasons against the Minnesota Timberwolves, wherein they rely on rotation. So kapag nagkaroon ng set play, dahil nga almost similar din ng Suns saka Lakers, wherein yung mga pieces nila hindi ganun ka-reliable in defense. So they have to do it in team, wherein they have to react on the offense, and then they do switches and rotations do sa depensa. So yun yung ginawa ng Lakers to the point na parang sige, i-try namin i-contain and slow down ng todo si Jokic. Tapos bahala na kung sino yung mag-step up, and which obviously usually is Jamal Murray. It work most of the time. Hindi lang nakakakuha talaga ng solid run ang Lakers kasi kita nyo naman ang baba ng percentage ni Jamal Murray. So for me, it worked talaga. Yung resilience ni Anthony Davis worked then against Jokic. Pero kasi if you flip it that way, on the other side of things, wala, hindi din kaya nila. Hindi din kasi nila kaya si Jokic. And then Jamal Murray is just a clutch player. Last season, I thought that Jamal Murray played better against LeBron James, and that's one of the biggest reason kaya na-sweep sila. Kasi of course, even though matanda na si LeBron James, I'm expecting better things to LeBron James kasi he's LeBron James. He's still good at his age. And for me, he played better this season. And then that's the reason why it was closer. Anthony Davis, kasabi ko nga kanina, pinupuri ko talaga yung performance niya. He played better. Pero I guess Denver is still a better team. They weren't able to hold them, hold the pace, control the pace. Umaabot pa rin dun sa mga instances wherein Denver executes. And whenever that happens, it's hard for any team yan pumiyok pa ako, any team sa buong liga to actually defend the two-man game of the Denver Nuggets courtesy of Jokic and Jamal Murray. Mahirap talagang i-contain yun. So, kita nyo naman nung mga times na nagta-transition ang Lakers out of their defense, nahihirapan din ng Nuggets kasi yun yung kahinaan ng Nuggets. Of course, di naman basta-basta kaya makapagtakbuhan ni Jokic, and banged up pa sila. And then, in terms of matchup, LeBron is big. And, you know, doon sa may mga instances na pag may gusto siyang gawin, he can actually do that freely. Ganon din si Jokic, pero iba pa rin yung LeBron James Parang out of the whole league, wala namang ganon na team na merong LeBron James na has someone that can play make as big, as fast as LeBron James with high IQ. And for me, Denver's did a decent job of at least somehow containing that by using MPJ, Aaron Gordon, and KCP. Pero nga, they are still banged up. May mga instances na Aaron Gordon was playing most of the time the backup center. And then na-challenge din for me, na-challenge din kahit papano yung isa pa sa mga weakness ng Denver, yung bench nila, yung kawalan ni Bruce Brown, kawalan ni Jeff Green. It was actually evident kasi ang hirap yung yung inaasahan nila come up off the bench, even though the likes of Christian Braun and Peyton Watson did had actually a good playoff performance in those small minutes. Pero the fact that they are getting small minutes, it just says that number one, heavily reliable ang Denver sa kanilang starters. Number two, matchup is yung gap masyadong malaki. Parang how do you defend someone like LeBron James? They tried as a team with a plan, pero yun. I think KCP low key talaga kasi ang style ni KCP din, he knows how to actually defend in angles eh. Parang hindi, physically hindi niya kaya yun. Aaron Gordon, of course, yun yung heavy hitter nila defensively in terms of strength. Pero yung in terms of sundot-sundot, malaking bagay yung ginawa ni KCP. That goes as well with Jamal Murray, even though may sakit siya nung isang game, and then even though hindi din siya 100% healthy. Um, yung effort lang, yung effort just to contain. And then I guess, defensively, hirap din talaga ang Lakers. They have, sino ba yung majority of the time na bumabantay kay Jamal Murray? Austin Reeves. And not really known for defending. Hirap na hirap talaga siya kay Jamal Murray. I don't think Jamal Murray was he wasn't yung mga tira niya hindi nahuhulog. He was a little bit uncomfortable, pero kita niya naman not that uncomfortable para mawala yung game niya. Mag-sway away siya doon sa magiging clutch niya, and that prove yung dalawang solid na buckets. I guess hindi din nakapag-step up si D'Angelo Russell. Every time na nag-step up si D'Angelo Russell, helping sa offense, helping from the outside para magkaroon ng better spacing, ang Lakers hindi nangyari. So malaking bagay yan dito sa series na to. Isa pang malaking bagay is Anthony Davis, even though had a very good performance, like yung mid-range niya, yung defense niya, and yung activity niya. Feeling ko kasi hindi ko din sure if it's Derwinham or if it's LeBron or siya mismo, si Anthony Davis mismo. Feeling ko kasi hindi ko gusto na he's always, most of the time kapag merong half court setup, gets the ball on off the top to sa facing the basket to sa siya atake. Feeling ko mas naging effective, kita nyo nung mga nagkakaroon chance na kumat siya, better spacing sa gitna, down low post. So I just think na he's too skilled na to really utilize those mismatches or yung take advantage dun sa kanyang athleticism. Pero yun nga, I guess, in style nila. And then another thing is rebounding. Hirap din talaga sa rebounding ang Lakers. Yung big rebound ni Aaron Gordon over LeBron James. Game for ata yun. All throughout the series, ang laki ng advantage ng offensive rebounds nila. Someone like Christian Braun is a good rebounder to the point that he gives you additional at least +1 or +1.5 um chance, second chance scoring off the bench. So malaki yun para sa akin. Sabi nga nila, if you're a fan of Hanamichi Sakuragi coming from Japan, and then something na talagang isinabuhay ni Dennis Rodman, whoever controls the rebound controls the game. To some extent talaga, big part of it, totoo, naniniwala ako doon. Kasi syempre, katulad nga nun, if you crash the boards, if you crash the offensive rebounds, lumado ka na eh, kasi you're getting second chance points. And ito, napatunayan ito ng Timberwolves against the Phoenix Suns. Malaki yung discrepancy ng rebounding. Dahil, yun nga, walang ganang kagandang front court ang Suns eh. Pero yun, balik tayo dito sa Nuggets and Lakers. Just to sum it off, I think overpowered talaga. Nag-improve ang Lakers, dikit pa rin naman. Sabi nung iba, it could have been different kung hindi na-injured si Anthony Davis nung last game. Foul daw kay Torian Prince, pero at the end of the day, ano yun eh, breaks of the game. It is what it is. Denver was a better team. It wasn't their best performance, so that's something good for the Los Angeles Lakers team. Silver lining. They did something uh, good. Unfortunately, sinira na nila yung winalis na rin nila yung coaching staff nila. So I don't know what's gonna happen next season. Okay, so set aside na natin 'yan. Medyo nagkaroon na tayo ng idea what worked and didn't work sa round 1 against doon sa mga teams na nakalaban nila, the Phoenix Suns and the Los Angeles Lakers. So let's talk about what's expected from them this coming round 2. Umpisahan natin doon sa strengths, no. Ang Timberwolves kasi ang strengths talaga kasi niya defense. Ang strengths niya is getting points from turnovers. Ang strengths niya is yung Twin Towers. Ang strengths din niya is very deep bench in comparison to other playoffs teams, specifically against the Denver Nuggets. And another strength is Anthony Edwards. Not every team has someone like Anthony Edwards, athletic, can score. And then lastly, yung pag-mature ni Anthony Edwards plus Karl Anthony Towns. So for me, those factors are really something to watch out for this series. And aabangan talaga nating mabuti yan dahil yan yung ano yan yung nabuong image at nabuong sistema ng Timberwolves. This is something they did all throughout season. Actually started last year na. Naalala ko nung pre-game this season, nagbanggit agad ako noon, hindi ko malilimutan kasi pre-game pa lang siya, yung communication and adjustment sa wing defense ni Karl Anthony Towns sa ni Jaden McDaniels, I think it was against, hindi ko tanda kung ano yung kalaban nila. Dallas ata kalaban nila noon sa pre-season na parang nabanggit ko agad na parang grabe yung uh, seamlessness nung depensa nung Team Wolves na to the point na naku, aabangan ko talaga yung buong season nila. Alam ko nagbitaw ako ng ganong words, hindi ko malilimutan yun kasi I was really impressed na yung activity ni Karl Anthony Towns, yung activity ni Jaden McDaniels, understanding na hindi nakapaglaro ng playoffs si Jaden McDaniels last season, and then yung emergence din ni Naz Reid really pushed me to trust even dun sa mga fantasy season long leagues natin. Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns. Though na-injury si Karl Anthony Towns unfortunately. But I was expecting something big sa Timberwolves. So yun. Ang daming dapat purihin sa Timberwolves. Pero majority of, well, not majority, more of like out of those major consideration, yung isang aspeto talaga yung hinangaan ko sa kanila, especially against the Phoenix Suns. They've executed their offensive setup well in comparison to the whole regular season. Sobrang ganda nung pag-execute nila ng offensive setup nila against the Phoenix Suns. Let's see kung ma-carry over nila yun against the Denver Nuggets. Obviously, Denver Nuggets is a better defender, has better defenders, and is a better defensive team in comparison to Suns. Hindi, not saying na defensive team sila is they're on the upper echelon ng defensive teams. Pero in terms of again comparing yung kakayahan nila over the Suns, obviously malaking diferensya. Mas better in defense ng Denver Nuggets. So yun yung mga nakita ko sa Timberwolves. Naobserbahan natin in terms of weakness, isa talaga yung weakness ng Timberwolves for me na umaangat sa lahat is execution in the offense. They are really not known to be able to do that consistently, especially dun sa mga games na hindi makagawa ng makapag-execute ng maayos si Anthony Edwards. It's either mala siya, it's either he's really bothered in the defense. That's the reason why medyo may mga quarters talaga to si Anthony Edwards, especially to start of the game na mababa yung scoring niya. And sometimes naman sa dulo. Pero yung in between, you were in usually nagiging comfortable na siya kung parang nakakapag-execute na sila. Nakita mo doon talaga yung strong quarters ni Anthony Edwards. So, that's a weakness for me kasi pagdating ng playoffs, if mapabagal ng Denver ang laro, mahihirapan talaga yung Timberwolves or hindi sila well known to actually execute offensively. And if you actually think na kayang i-defend or at least slow down si Anthony Edwards and even Karl Anthony Towns, then it's going to be a problem. Saan sila kukuha ng scoring? Naz Reid, Kasi not someone that actually creates eh. It's more of like, oh, kapag laban na ng bench, he's the better player almost among all benches. Plus, kapag kasama niya yung some of the starting five, is a good reliever for a Cat kasi halos yung role hindi nababago. And sometimes he's more ano pa nga eh, more comfortable doing things that Ant doesn't usually do. And speaking of Ant, sorry, Cat pala. Lagi ko na pagpapalit, no? Three-letter nickname kasi. So, speaking of Cat, malaki din siguro yung magnifying glass na dapat ilagay natin kay Karl Anthony Towns dahil ito yung series na sana ma-maintain niya yung composure niya from the Phoenix Suns series. Kasi kahit sinong team, alam naman nila na dapat nilang pag-focusan at gawa ng play in defense itong si Anthony Edwards. And the next thing is obviously Cat. So if both of them are put into situations to read plays, to control paces, and then to actually step up in terms of deciding and solving real-time problems, adjustment and all, hindi pa ako ganun ka-confident na kaya ni Ant saka ni Kat yun, lalo na si Kat, basing on history. Thing is, recently they proved me and maybe some others wrong kasi they're actually maturing and also emerging. Pero yun, how can they do that against a high caliber team like Denver Nuggets? So yun yung mga ilalagay ko sa microscope kasi yun yung mga butas eh. Something that I expect them to do is to actually try to defend Jamal Murray better than the Los Angeles Lakers. They have Jaden McDaniels, they have Nickel Alexander Walker, and even Anthony Edwards. So lahat ng yan kaya magpalit-palitan against Jamal Murray. Some of them are bigger and longer, so talagang mahihirapan basta si Jamal Murray. Thing is, Timberwolves doesn't usually execute double teams kasi confident naman sila dun sa defense nila. Plus, they have someone like Rudy Gobert na kumbaga next layer defense just in case someone penetrates. So para sa akin magiging malaking bagay 'yon. If they can actually contain Jamal Murray, then mapipilitan talaga na umasa ang Denver Nuggets. Well, obviously kay Jokic and ma-disrupt sila. And let's see kung mag-step up din si MPJ or KCP kapag na-contain si Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray started last round not playing well in terms of shooting. Andun yung mga clutch shots pero yun nga eh. Still for me it wasn't a good series for Jamal Murray pero ewan ko, feeling ko I'm kind of like hoping that it comes to at least one game this 7-game series, it comes to a shootout against Anthony Edwards, no, katulad ng Donovan Jamal Murray. Let's see kung mangyayari yon. Let's see kung makakalusot si Jamal Murray doon sa depensa ng Minnesota Timberwolves. Kasi in the past, he actually has been successful against Jaden McDaniel. So again, those are regular season games. It's a different beast pagdating ng playoff. So yeah, I think isa dun sa game plan nila yon. Another thing is to rebound. Malaki ang Minnesota Timberwolves at their defensive team. So they really need to crush the boards, hoping to um get more second chance points, prevent Denver Nuggets to get second chance points. So it's going to be challenging kasi there are a lot of good rebounders para sa Denver Nuggets. Pero para sa akin, isa yun sa dapat din na magawa ng Minnesota Timberwolves for them to be able to beat the Denver Nuggets. And then lastly, isa to dun sa talagang babantayan ko is really controlling the game, controlling the pace. Sabi ko nga kanina, babalikan ko to, the Los Angeles Lakers was playing a lot better and they are actually beating the Denver Nuggets when they run, when they execute good defense push the Denver Nuggets, specifically Jokic, to turn the ball over and then feed up from that into transition. Kasi medyo hirap talaga ang Denver Nuggets dun sa aspeto na yun. They are more of like a half-court setup team, and they are, for me, the number one team in terms of doing that. So if the Timberwolves can actually control that pace, then chances goes higher, and mas mahihirapan talaga yung Denver Nuggets. Palagay ko, out of all the teams, Timberwolves are is one of possibly the lone team na hirap ang Denver Nuggets in terms of matchups, dahil malalaki ang ang Minnesota Timberwolves, plus defensive team sila. So it's kontrapelo in a sense. Okay. So punta naman tayo sa Denver Nuggets. Ako, quick hits lang sa Denver Nuggets kasi I think some of them are pretty obvious. Number one is yung two-man game ni Jokic tsaka ni Jamal Murray. Na-touch on ko na rin to kanina. How would they react in a more defensive scheme ng Timberwolves? I think mas problema to ni Murray kasi itong si Jokic. Yeah, Rudy Gobert is good. Pero if you check back scores and games nung mga nakaraan, hindi ko masasabi na slow down nila si Jokic. Jokic always has this gear na kapag nahihirapan yung mga katim niya, kaya naman niya umiscore. And one-on-one, feeling ko mas nahirap. Ako talaga naniniwala ako na mas nangyari na yung best defender against Jokic this playoff or postseason. It was Anthony Davis. Bakit? Kasi Anthony Davis was good defensively. He's not as big as Rudy Gobert. Maybe may mga defensive schemes or skill set si Gobert na hindi nagagawa ni Anthony Davis. I doubt na masyadong malaki yung gap, kasi solid din naman talaga si Davis. Pero on defensive end, hindi naman kasi na-challenge din ni Gobert si Jokic in comparison to Anthony Davis. So for me, mas napapagod si Jokic kay Anthony Davis kaysa kay Gobert. So kung ilalagay naman nila si Kat kay Jokic, let's see. Kat isn't known to be a good defender. He's better last series, pero let's see kung yun ang gagawin nila. So with that said, feeling ko ito yung hindi masyado nakikita ng iba, na feeling nila talaga as a defensive team sobrang mahihirapan yung Denver Nuggets. Medyo another value kasi kung gaano kagaling si Jokic. Jokic is not good physically, pero yung endurance niya, mga paps, yung kakayahan niya to control the pace and then to control his pace. And malaking bagay yun. Kasi hindi naman siya basta-basta sobrang napapagod. Like Embiid. Embiid is a very good player, pero one of the reason why the Philadelphia 76ers can't close games is because itong si Embiid is always gassed out. So if your best player, and if the best player in the court, to be honest, para sa akin, it was Embiid in that series. Still, he's still the best player in the court, even though Jalen Bronson is a different beast. If yung player mo is tired, not 100%, malaki yung pagkakaiba. And then, it's napakadalang ng mga pagkakataon na makita natin na ganun si Jokic. And just, for me, strength yon, the durability and condition of Jokic. And for him to play that, and Denver knows that. That's the reason why Denver is relying most of their points or their assets to their starting lineup. Kasi itong itong starters nila, heavy duty, lalong-lalo na si Jokic. So, two-man game, malamang mahirapan it's going to be a chance for Jamal Murray. Pero Jokic, for me, it's too much. Another thing na nakikita kong key for Denver is KCP. I think out of all other defenders, maybe at least in the regular season, KCP checks out Anthony Edwards. Not necessarily the whole game, Pero dun sa quarters when it counts. Wala lang sa akin yung stat, pero I think nabasa ko yon somewhere or narinig ko somewhere na KCP actually checked out Anthony Edwards in fourth quarters, um, the best among all defenders na nag-defend kay Anthony Edwards. So that's a key for me. Pero ang bigger shadowing key nito is off the bench Christian Braun and itong si Peyton Watson. I think they will be tasked to somehow relieve KCP, especially depending dun sa health ni KCP dahil banged up din itong si KCP, injured din siya. So yun yung nakikita ko na plan ng Denver or kayang or dapat gawin ng Denver in terms of actually covering Anthony Edwards. And if you can actually push Anthony Edwards to play more reads, try to play make na hindi pa siya sobrang sanay, forces Anthony Edwards to do silly things. That goes as well with Karl Anthony Towns. So yung depensa sa wing para sa akin, magiging big deal yon. Hopefully healthy si KCP. Sila lang tato yung feeling ko aasahan eh. I'm not sure if MPJ can actually help. Maybe Aaron Gordon from time to time. Ang problema ko lang mga paps, kaya hindi ko masabing Aaron Gordon versus Ant din to. Si Aaron Gordon kasi yung nagsisilbing backup center ng Denver Nuggets eh. So if he's doing that and he's doing that role pretty well, aasa ba ang Denver Nuggets kay Andre Jordan as backup center? Feeling ko hindi. So that's the reason why mas gusto ko at feeling ko gagawin ng Denver Nuggets is stick with Aaron Gordon in the front court, helping out Jokic, or even whenever Jokic rests, Aaron Gordon playing the center position. And then yung tatlong nabanggit ko ang magsasalitan kay Anthony Edwards. Pero let's see. Let's see kasi Anthony Edwards is still a very good offensive player, and those are keys na dapat gawin ng Denver Nuggets. Nabanggit ko na yung health kanina. For me, malaking bagay sa Denver Nuggets to be healthy because they don't have the deepest bench in the whole league. Na ilang beses ko na to inulit-ulit. I think Bruce Brown was big for them last season. I think malaking kawalan si Bruce Brown sa Denver Nuggets dahil he's an athletic player. He can play one, wherein napapahinga talaga ng todo si Jamal Murray. And now they only have Reggie Jackson. And I just don't trust Reggie Jackson. Well, may mga times na he's decent pero ang laki nung ang laki nung pagkakaiba. And Bruce Brown is a better defender as well. That goes as well with Jeff Green. Despite of the age, Jeff Green is somewhat, to be honest, a more skilled MPJ eh. Edad lang ang diferensya. Almost what MPJ can do, Jeff Green can do in runs. Hindi naman ng pangmatagalan. So, ganun ka-importante yung dalawa. I think Christian Braun has been playing better than expected. Pero again, konti lang kasi yung minsan na nakuha niya. I just think na this time mas malaki yung minutes na makukuha niya dahil nga dun sa pagdepensa kay Anthony Edwards. But nonetheless, bottom line is if Denver Nuggets will not be healthy at some point, knock on the wood, mahirapan sila kasi mababa ang bench nila. So for me, that's one big thing to monitor sa Denver Nuggets. And then siguro last one for me is similar to the Timberwolves, controlling the pace and the boards. Ang Denver Nuggets is a good half-court executing team. They set very well. One of the best or probably the best in the league. One of the deadliest or probably the deadliest two-man setup in the league as well. So, kailangan nila mag-execute. It's about Jokic. It's about Jokic not turning the ball over. It's about Jokic reading plays. It's about Jokic adjusting depending on dun sa depensa na ipapakita ng Timberwolves. So, control the pace. If it's gonna be a slower series, baka ma-sweep pa nga ng Denver ang Wolves, to be honest. Kasi that's how strong Denver is. dahil nga nabanggit ko na medyo hirap din ang Minnesota na magpainit agad. So starting strong is an advantage. Playing in the home court is a big advantage. Um, Isa pang advantage is closing out. Kasi there's Anthony Edwards is good, but not as good as Jamal Murray and Jokic in terms of closing out games. So yun for me are advantages, and then again, offensive rebounds. Dun sa mga games na nanalo ang Denver Nuggets against Timberwolves in the past bouts na pinaglabanan nila, they control the offensive rebound. MPJ, actually, kung hindi nyo napapansin, pero malamang napansin nyo to dahil naglalaro kayo ng fantasy basketball, is a good rebounder. Aaron Gordon is a good rebounder. So this isn't the Phoenix Suns. Eh, eh, Malamang may labanan to sa rebound eh. So for me, whoever controls the rebound is again a big advantage agad in this series. Ayun, so ano pa ba yung mga dapat kong i-consider? Isip pa ako, baka may nalilimutan ako. Pero I think masyado na akong madami banggit. Ayoko na rin sobrang pabahabain to. So yun yung mga considerations. Final verdict, mga paps. Dalawa yung verdict ko. Conservative verdict, Game 7. I'm still gonna pick the Denver Nuggets just because of their maturity. 7 years together. Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray. I'm gonna bank on that. Magro-roll the dice ako dyan. As long as they're healthy, I think they are you'll be surprised. Maybe nagkaroon lang ng recency bias kasi nga emerging team, Timberwolves, sobrang ganda ng performance nila. Sinup nilang ang Suns. Tapos itong Denver Nuggets, in some sense, nasabayan ng Lakers in several games. At to the point, umabot pa nga sa last minute shots from Jamal Murray. So, recency bias, pero hindi ako masyado biased doon. So, with that said, I still think Denver is a better team. I think in a playoff setup, they have an advantage. I think they have another gear. I mentioned earlier, last series is not the best Denver that we know and we've seen last season. At remember, last season, wala naman din nakapag-slow down sa Denver. Almost easy championship for Denver last year. Okay? So, unfortunate for them, Team Wolves talaga yung medyo talaga nag-hold back sa kanila at makakatapat nila dito. Pero still, down the wire, I think conservative na ano ko dito, verdict ko, Denver in 7. Almost lahat naman siguro, feeling ko nakikita ko madami nagde-Denver in 7. Okay, so yun yung una kong verdict. Ang second verdict ko, if everything goes well, if I'm right, na meron pang another gear ang Denver Nuggets. And then, if I'm right, na it's going down the to for Kat and Anthony Edwards to really consistently do what they did in the Phoenix Suns in terms of maturity and reading plays and all. At walang may injury sa Denver Nuggets. For me, it's possible that this could actually uh, finish in 6. Feeling ko kayang tapusin ng Denver to in 6. Uh, I'm not sure in 5. I respect the Timberwolves too much. So, yun yung dalawang verdict ko. Malaki kasing bagay yung health eh. Kasi nga, walang magandang bench ang Nuggets eh. Kaya kung wala namang iindahin ng Denver Nuggets, they can actually close it earlier. And it's also favorable for them just because wala nga silang bench. At they also need to stay healthy. And then they know that. So kailangan nilang tapusin agad to if they really want to defend the championship belt against the Eastern Conference, 'di ba? Makapasok ulit sila sa finals. And then lastly, aside do sa recency bias, um feeling ko kasi na undervalue nung tao si Nikola Jokic. Eh. Nick it Playoffs is about problem solving. Of course, there's a lot of factors, pero most of the time, down the wire, it's about problem solving. It's about reading. It's about adjusting. And then for me, malaking bagay talaga yun. Yung adjustment for someone as good as Nikola Jokic. He's a mismatch to almost any team. And nada-downgrade natin yon. And if meron pa talaga silang another gear at gawin nila yon this series, hopefully maging maganda pa rin yung series, pero it's a different monster. Nakita natin yung last season, hindi pa natin nakikita yon this season. At least in the playoffs, at least against the Lakers. So, let's see. Let's see. Hopefully, this is going to be a justifiable assumption na best series in all of the playoff series this year itong mangyayari. At inaasahan ko yan, hopefully, it comes to justice. Hopefully, walang ma-injured para maganda yung laban. So, ayun, mga paps. Yun yung ating verdict. Maraming salamat dun sa nakinig at nanood. Bukas, magla-live tayo. Post natin yung link sa playback. Samahan nyo ako. Panoodin natin yan ng magkakasama. At ayun, Denver in 6 or 7. Let's go, Denver. Mga Paps, maraming salamat. Happy weekend. Again, this is your NBA Fantasy Papi. Papi Roy in the house. Pag-ibig at kapayapaan para sa lahat. Bye-bye.